Good morning, boys and girls. This is lesson 13.9, area and perimeter. And for this lesson, I would like you to have these materials. So 2 different colors of highlighters and a pencil to do this assignment. And remember, in the classroom, if we don't have highlighters, we use a yellow crayon and an orange crayon. It could be any light color, but 2 different types, okay? So this lesson focuses on area and perimeter and recognizing that a shape could have the same area, different perimeter, or different perimeter, same area. So that's really the focus of this. There's no new math in it. It's just carefully reading directions, and that's why I asked for the highlighters. So I'm going to start demonstrating that to you, okay? One of the things that's very important in math is that we read the directions carefully. And in fact, in life, it's very important that you read directions carefully. So one of the ways that I like to help myself is when I am reading a set of directions that I know is possibly going to change, like it is in this assignment, I like to underline the most important information or highlight it in one color. So here they're asking us to draw and label a rectangle that has the same area but different perimeter than each rectangle shown. But then here, they're switching up the directions. Draw and label a rectangle that has the same perimeter, different area than each of the rectangles shown. So if we're not reading the directions and we're just assuming we just have to do 6 times 5, well, that's not what they're asking you to do. Okay, so you have to be very careful with your direction reading. Okay, so let me pick up my pencil here. Okay, so here I have to draw and label a rectangle that has the same area. So first I would have to figure out what the area is. So remember, the formula is length times width, right? So you have 6 times 5. So we know that that's going to be 30 square centimeters. And now I need to show the exact same area, but a different perimeter. So that means my numbers should not be the same as this, okay? So I'm just thinking, maybe I'm gonna make a longer one that goes this way. And I'm gonna do 10 by 3. Okay, so how am I going to make sure I'm following the directions? Let me see. Is it the same area? 10 times 3. Would that give me 30? Yes, it would. Okay, but let me check to make sure that my perimeter is not the same. So here, if you calculated perimeter, this would be 5. This would be 6. So the perimeter here would be 6 plus 6, 12, and then plus 10, 22. So the perimeter for that shape is 22 cm. I need to make sure I'm not doing the same here. Remember, where am I coming up with that? What's on one side will be on the other, okay, with rectangles, okay, whatever the side length is. Okay, so 10 plus 10 gives me 20. And then 20 plus 3 is giving me 23, and then plus 3 is 26. So the perimeter here is 26, and the area is 30 square cm. And this is cm. Okay, so now that I'm done with the work, I have to make sure that I did this correctly. Does my new shape have the same area? Yes, it does. Does it have a different perimeter? This is 26 for my new shape. That one is 22. So yes, it does. So once I finish a problem, I'm going to go back and do that to make sure that I fit all of the criteria of what was being asked of me. This takes time. A lot of kids rush through it. But remember, precision is everything in math. I taught you that while we were together at school. So I want you to make sure that you take the time to work out the problem, draw your rectangle, and really persevere through these problems. I don't want you to look at them and panic. You can do this, okay? Now let's move on. Draw and label a rectangle that has the same perimeter but different area than each rectangle shown. So here it is. So first thing I need to do is I'm going to calculate what is my area and my perimeter of this particular problem. Okay, so here I'm going to do 10 times 3 to calculate my area, which is 30 square feet. And my perimeter, I like to label because it keeps me organized. So 10 plus 10 gives me 20, and then you have 6 on the side. So my perimeter is 26 feet. Okay, so now that I know what this is, they're asking me to find or draw and label a rectangle that has the same perimeter. So I need to have perimeter of 26. Okay, so first thing that pops up at me is I think, can I make 26 like in half? Okay, that would give me 13 and 13, but that would only give me 2 sides, so I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is use the number 24, and I'm going to draw my rectangle. Sorry, it's so hard to film and do the work at the same time. I'm going to do 12 and 12. 12 plus 12 would give me 24. And I'm going to do 1 over here on the side and 1. So it has to be same perimeter. So I'm going to see 12 plus 12, 24, 25, 26. That's the same perimeter. Check. Now, it has to be a different area. So let's see if I did that. 12 times 1. So the area would be 12 square feet. And is that different than this area? Yes, it is. I've done the problem correctly. Okay, so that's how we do this problem. And so I've done 2 with you, and I want to jump over here to problem solving because this tends to be a little bit more difficult. So remember, before we start these type of problems, we always want to read what's up here. Okay, Williams Windows makes the rectangular windows given in the table. Use this information to solve 7 and 8. So right away, I am being told, I'm going to use orange here, that in order to be successful with problems 7 and 8, I am going to have to look at this table. Okay, so when math books have some information on the side, that's not just there for the fun of it. There's a reason for it, okay? So there's this table. Okay, I'm going to skip over here to question 8. Each window will have a wood border surrounding it. Which window will use the same amount of wood border? Okay, so let's take a look at this. And you can see here you've got your length and your width. So 6 and 3. Let's look at it. And this one is 5 and 4. And the third one, 9 and 2. Okay, so border usually right here in the problem usually indicates that you're talking about perimeter. Okay, so let's take a look. Here it's 6, here it's 3. So that's 12. And then you have 6. So 12 plus 6 is going to give you 18. And this is in feet. Okay, So the next one, you have 5 here, 4 here. So that means that there's 4 here. You might want to do this on a separate page, not like Mrs. Ali squeezing it in. Okay, so 5 and 5, 10, and then you've got your 2 4s. It's going to give you 18. And then here you have 9 and 2. That's 9. Okay, so you have 18 here, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so that's your perimeter. I've calculated perimeter for all 3 of my windows. So that's a little bit of work. Remember, problem solving has always been the hardest page for our class. So we spent the most time here. You have to remember that. If you're not spending a lot of time here, then you're not doing it right. Okay, so let's go to this part. Let's reread the question. Which windows will use the same amount of wood border? So look at it. 18 feet, 18 feet, 22 feet. So it looks like the answer would be A and B. Okay, so when I come to the answer here, I'd write window A and B. And remember, I did all this work so that I could answer this correctly. Remember, take your time. It's not a rush. If you're not getting the answer correct, or your answer is not accurate, that means you're not taking the time that it takes to actually solve the problem. Okay, this page is where you have the higher level thinking skills. It takes the longest amount of time. You know this. I've talked about it several times in class. All right, kiddos, good luck.